All right, friends, good morning. Welcome to the hands-free drive to work, because in Georgia you cannot touch your phone while you're driving. It would be unsafe to do so anyway. And so just press play on that phone. I know it's dark right now, but you don't need to look at your phone while you're driving either. So all you have to do is press play and just let's have a conversation on your way to work. Hopefully it'll help you change the way you think. And we know that we can never change the way we act until we change the way we decide. And we can't change the way we decide until we change the way we think. So we sometimes even need to think differently about our actions. So today is not about how to act. We're not talking about how to act yet. We are thinking differently about our own actions. And I'll make that more clear as we go. I am literally frightened. And not because it's dark right now, but I am literally frightened by self-deception. And let me tell you why. Because I look around me and I see a lot of people that I know who deceive themselves. They can talk themselves into just about anything. And really, I think they start to believe themselves. They're literally self-deceived. And I would be foolish to think that I can see this in other people and it never affects me. I would be foolish to think it always happens to somebody else, but it could never happen to me. And so self-deception scares me. I want to be on my toes against it. And I want to help you with it this morning if I can. I read something this morning that I think is going to be really powerful in helping us think through self-deception. There was a time in history when an entire race of people were being persecuted and oppressed. And one of the leaders of that race of people wrote a letter to the other members of that race. And really what he was trying to do is help them manage themselves well through a hard time. He was helping them lead themselves through a difficult time. And we've talked about this. You cannot learn to lead others until you first learn to lead yourself. And so all these videos that we're talking about is how do we lead ourselves well through the weeds of work. And I think he was trying to help them lead themselves. And it's something that we can really gain a lot of wisdom from. So check this out. Here's what he said. He said, in this letter, he said, if you hear my instructions only and don't actually do them, then you are deceiving yourself. He said it's like somebody who goes up to a mirror and sees themselves in the mirror and then walks away and forgets what he looks like. So watch this. He's saying looking in a mirror and walking away and forgetting what you look like equals self. We talked about math the other day. Looking in the mirror and walking away and forgetting what you look like equals self-deception, which equals hearing instructions but not doing instructions. So let me say it in a sentence for us. Tracking your actions keeps you from self-deception. Tracking your actions keeps you from self-deception. I've heard it said about organizations. You are currently organized to get the exact results you are currently getting. To an organization, you might say you're exactly organized to get the exact results that you are getting today. That just means that the results that you're getting, you're organized to get those results. So if you want to get different results, then you have to change something that you're doing. All that's saying is tracking your actions keeps you from self-deception. If you think about this with leading other people, it's probably more clear to us. Because if we had two employees, if you were a leader and you had two employees on your team, and one of those employees had a great speech prepared about a new project that was coming up, you as a leader had to assign someone to kind of take the charge on this new project. One of your employees came and had an incredible speech prepared and told you all the ways that he or she was going to make sure that this project saw its way all the way to fulfillment. And then you had another employee, and that employee came and told you all the things they had done in the last 6 months and the last year. And you knew that you had given them projects and they had actually saw those projects all the way to fulfillment. They had taken the reign and taken charge, and they had executed properly on all the projects that you had given them in the past. But this other employee with a great speech, you look back over the last 6 months or the last year, and they had kind of dropped the ball on a few things. They had fumbled a few times. They hadn't taken the ownership of a project when they should have. Who are you going to make over? Who are you going to give charge to this new project? Well, of course, the one whose actions proved that they can handle it. See, actions show us someone's capabilities. They prove to us and keep us from deceiving ourselves. Is this incredible or what? There's two ways that we can use this, I think. There's two ways we can use this. Tracking your actions keeps you from self-deception. One, it keeps me from being deceived about today. And I'll tell you, this one makes a lot of sense to me. And number two, I'll tell you, it's very tough for me. It's very tough for me, even though I'm involved in number two every single day. I'll show you what I'm talking about, but this one's very clear. Tracking your actions today keeps you from self-deception, and the way you can use that is to say that today, if I'm wondering about myself, if I have the certain skill sets that are required, if I look back in the past and I say, what have I done? What did my actions actually show me? I can't say, you know what, I am a responsible person. I can't say I'm a responsible person if over the last 6 months of the year that I've acted irresponsibly, because tracking my actions is going to keep me from self-deception. If someone says you're not responsible, yet you look over your last 6 months or your last year and you can see over and over again where you took on responsibility and you handled it perfectly. See, tracking your actions keeps you from self-deception. You'll never deceive yourself because you just look at your actions and know exactly the kind of person you are and the exact skill set that you have right now. And I'll tell you the other way we can use this is in the future. And you may be surprised by what I'm about to say, but the way we can use it is to accept what we cannot know. The way we can use it is to accept what we cannot know. I've been in the insurance business for over a decade now. And over the last decade, I've helped families and businesses make their next wise move based on knowable outcomes and unknowable outcomes, based on variables that they can be confident they know, and based on things that they have to accept they cannot know. For example, whenever we talk about having full coverage on a car or having a life insurance plan, one thing we cannot know is when we'll get in an accident. One thing we cannot know is when we'll die. So to take that into account when we try to determine your next wise move is important. One thing I have to accept is that I cannot know these certain outcomes. And what we learned from this author who penned this letter, we learned that our tracking our actions is the thing that keeps us from self-deception. It is the thing, the action, not the thought, not the hearing of the instructions, but the doing of the instructions is what keeps us from self-deception. And so what we have to accept is that when we look into the future, even if we feel like we have skills for a different role than we're in right now, if we feel like we have skills that allow us to take a promotion within our organization, or to start a new business, or to go out and take a new risk, we have to accept that until we have actions to prove that we can do that, we really can't know at all if we can or not. Is that not incredible? That does. It's a little bit scary to admit that. But until I actually have actions to prove it, I don't know if the business model is going to work or not. Until I have actions to prove it, I don't know if my new great idea is actually a new great idea. Again, it's so easy to see in someone else. If I'm a leader and I hire a new employee, I can feel really confident about their ability to do a job. But at the end of the day, 3 months later is when I'm going to be able to tell you if they can do the job or not. And I have to be able to identify that very quickly and make changes or respond to their actual actions, not what they tell me they can do or what I see that they can do. In the same way, when I'm managing myself through the weeds of work, I have to look forward and say, you know what, there's some things I have to accept as unknowable. And to know if I have the skill set to take on a new role or a new business, or if a new model is going to work, to know that that's true, I have to accept that that is something I cannot know 100% until I actually move my feet in that direction. And then 3 months, 6 months later, I have to be able to identify quickly again, even on myself, am I deceiving myself? Or did I actually have the skills that it took? If we're able to think differently about our own actions, and we're able to attract our actions instead of our emotions or our, what we think about, if we're able to attract those actions, it helps us think differently about these actions. And then we learn how to decide differently, and ultimately we will learn how to act differently. This will make a massive difference about how we lead ourselves through the weeds of work. Can we do this? Can we do this together? Can we hold each other accountable? Let's don't let each other deceive ourselves. Let's don't say, hey, I know I can do this if I don't actually act like I can do it. Let's don't let one another say, hey, I know this. I'm 100% sure this will work if we've never actually put it into motion. Because tracking our actions keeps us from self-deception. Hey, hands-free ride to work. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for listening.